Good morning, everyone. My name is Robert T. Green. I'm the CEO of Pre-Post Game. Today is Friday, June the 21st, approximately about 10 a.m. I want to do this live really quick to talk about some of the things that unfortunately I tried not to speak on the last couple of days, but feel like it's necessary, needed, based off the numerous amount of parents, athletes, and people in particular that continue to be disrespected and disregarded regarding the NCAA, their policies, and how they continue to insist that they're about education, they're about the best interest of the athlete and the family. And I'm here to explain to you once again on several levels why they are not and never have been. Many of you know about what's going on in America right now pertaining to children being taken away from their families, being sent to other places without their will, not knowing what's going on. Many of you, though, heard or know about the prison system, how recently the President of the United States asked many professional athletes, particularly the NFL, to sign or send names that they feel like should be pardoned based off of laws that's been written to put you in situations where literally it's set up based on your economic status, where you come from, that literally will set these people up to end up being incarcerated. Then, obviously, if you pardon this person when they come back to society, how will they reassociate themselves? How will they become successful furthermore after the fact? Again, at the end of the day, you're talking about terms such as pardon, but you pardon someone and now they come back to society who is not willing to give them a fair shake or opportunity to be successful in the first place. And that goes back to the NCAA. Education is about learning, it's about understanding, it's about choice. And if you understand the NCAA and their model as an institution similar to the prison institution, it's about self-serving and dominance, about putting certain thought processes in people's head and basically based off of their standing and status, not having the rights to advocate for themselves and what they're trying to do. And this continues to go on. Mark Emmert recently has received a $500,000 raise to go along with his $2.4 million salary. It's a disgrace. There's so many different things that's going on in the NCAA pertaining to things that haven't been done on the athlete's best interest and the family's best interest that never come to light, that's never been known, it's never talked about on TVs, which is why I, as the players rep, educate and empower, protect the athletes and the families through platforms such as this, the AfricanAmericanAthlete.com. The fact of the matter is, while Mr. Emmert is getting $500,000, you wonder why athletes, and again, I'm going to tell you for a matter of fact, why athletes skip bowl games, why athletes leave school early, why athletes and their families do not, finish their schooling where they went to school at, simply because based off that so-called free education that they're giving, is never warranted for something that actually benefited or generated revenue, such as 6 and 7 figure jobs that are career oriented, as based on a skill set that was attained in college. The reality is most of these athletes, out of the 2% that may go pro, other 98% tend to return right to where they started, back to the same hood, if you will, that they came from in the first place. Why coaches and people like Mark Emmert continue to make millions of dollars off of something they never did. Many of you do not understand that the majority of football coaches in particular, where they have now the 10-man staff, they added another assistant to give more money to those coaches. Predominantly 50% of the coaching staff, meaning 5 out of 10, never played football in their life past high school. But yet they're allowed to make money to basically tell other athletes who desire to go to another level in many different ways to do certain things, which is wrong in itself. Secondarily speaking, you have classes in certain schools such as water conservation, meditation, massage, not even therapy, dreaming, where you can go to sleep in class and obtain a certain grade, GPA average, where now another coach can receive another bonus, which is called APR, annual something percentage revenue rate, where they now can get 50, 60, 70,000, another bonus. However, these same athletes that generate hundreds of millions of dollars aren't getting their insurance covered, locked through their student athletic fund, or certain universities will dictate to families and deny them coverage because this actual parent or the actual athlete want to utilize their own insurance provider, which is really their right to do and legally to do so. As I said, Mark Emmert has a $500,000 bonus, but yet the archaic website known as the NCAA.org has yet to update the actual transfer rules pertaining to the athletes and the family's best interest. So once again, we talk about what's really going on, how this continue to happen, and at the end of the day, signing contracts you don't understand or agreements that you don't know. In essence, when you now try to reach out to these coaches, these athletic directors, these programs, you finally find out that literally they never had your son's or your daughter's best interests in mind. They were there to use their minds, their bodies, as best as they can to basically help facilitate an actual championship, a ring, whatever, and in return, again, giving you t-shirts and hats. I say all the time, sports is not a game, sports is all business. It's 2018. There are universities out there that literally will recruit you for 5 to 6, 7 months to 3 years and not ever tell you that when your kid gets to campus, you're going to tell this kid and his parent, not in writing, that they must live off of campus. Now, mind you, with the cost of attendance stipend that they may have at that school, that's not even something that's ever been said before. But once again, what does a parent, what does an athlete know? They didn't know. That's how we end up finding out. Because once again, those same coaches that literally recruited a kid and the parents that were told that everything will be taken care of, now your cost of attendance stipend, you're forcing a kid to go live off campus, yet he never lived anywhere besides his home and his life. You set him up for all type of failure and dangers. You're not talking about what can happen in your apartment if somebody robs his apartment. Again, if you don't have a car on campus, now all these different things that factor in when a kid now runs out of money, and then all of a sudden the kid turns to a runner or an agent, then you want to blackmail them like you guys try to do with a lot of these other kids, and then all of a sudden now they got to turn pro early. Remember that FBI investigation that just happened? All those kids just got drafted and made millions last night. But you know what? All of them that was in the investigation, again, including trade from Oklahoma, was allowed to play and made the tournament for the Oklahoma Sooners. The NCAA made money. Oklahoma made money. Kyler Murray right now is able to receive $5 million from his baseball contract drafted by the Oakland A's. But in his contract from the professional level, he's allowed to play this year. So the hypocrisy in this whole thing, basically based off of who is who and what is what, it tells you one thing. This is all business. This has never been about education. You can't get one student athlete, which I'm a former current student athlete, who was also sports trafficked, lied to by universities, officials, coaches, and all the above, and hence have me here today. But it breaks my heart to hear that when these programs are generating revenue in essence of $185 million, they're putting in new turf, they get new training facilities. Again, and then you have a guy like Jameis Winston, who basically got in trouble in college at a university, and now as of right now, coming up in a contract year, he's now going to be suspended another 3 games. But yet, are you holding, and again, Jimbo Fisher accountable as he making money, as he left Florida State to go to Texas A&M? Are you holding these coaches accountable that you basically, when you actually recruited them, and now you said you're here to develop their character and put them in the best situation, help them become better men? Are you going back and holding that man accountable? Are you still paying Jimbo Fisher $85 million for other kids like Jameis Winston who are likely to make the same mistakes under the same tutelage? Sports is not a game. Sports is all business. You may believe at this point that parents aren't keeping track of the history of some of these coaches that are in the NCAA, such as Urban Meyer. Again, players' names that played under Urban Meyer: Ezekiel Elliott, Cam Newton, Riley Cooper, the Pouncey Boys, infamous Aaron Hernandez. But yet, parents, you continue to send your kids to certain schools without asking pertinent questions: why and how. And then when it happens to your kids, you want to go back and say it's not fair, or the universities or the school want to deny what's what. You know, Malcolm Jenkins is a former Ohio State Buckeye. He's doing a lot of great work right now for the National Football League pertaining to social injustice on behalf of athletes, but people of black and brown colors from disproportionate situations going on. Has Ohio State ever came out and supported Malcolm Jenkins since he's came out this scenario? No, he has not. So it goes to show you again, when these athletes and these families commit to these schools, and again, all you got to do is put on a t-shirt and a hat, but yet you don't understand behind the scenes how they these contracts, these programs, these situations are set up to go against everything of who you are and what you stand for. Again, it's talking about what you don't know. You know right now the majority of kids that's about to go to summer camp right now, pertaining to their programs respectively, that in August, most of these schools will say the same exact thing. Well, we're paying for your housing and your food. Again, big deal. But this a month ago or a year ago, you made us leave off campus and go live somewhere else. So again, that rent is still due in August, but yet the NCAA is telling kids they're not going to pay, or the university's not going to pay for these kids' rent while they're back on campus for that month. Is that how the real world works? If I take a vacation somewhere, is my mortgage still due or not? Absolutely. But again, you're talking about education. What education? There's no education. You're setting these kids up for failure knowingly. At the end of the day, you want to smile in their face. You want to put them on a scoreboard. You want to recruit them and bring them to an actual basketball game. You want to put them on the screen, say their names, want them to put your jerseys on. Yet you can't tell a parent that when my kid arrives to this school that he has to live off campus. You don't want to tell me that? Again, I say it all the time. A 17 to 19-year-old cannot educate, empower, and advocate for themselves in sports business today. Not only in college, not only in high school, but as the actual pros. All these different entities, business structures, coaches, the leagues, the teams are here to utilize you, your body, and mind to pay their checks to send their kids to private school. I cannot implore you enough to basically protect yourself, invest in yourself, not the industry. When these kids and parents don't have the money to actually pay for this actual month of rent that's there, where do you think these kids are going to turn? These runners or agents are sitting on campus waiting because it's set up to push them directly to them. But guess who these agents represent? These actual coaches. And then you tell these kids that literally if you say something, we're going to blackmail you, blackball you, so you'll get in trouble. You'll lose your eligibility. Once again, that has never happened. But again, institutionalization speaking, these kids in their mind believe that to be the case. And a lot of these parents coming from areas that particularly don't have the actual education and resources to actually advocate for themselves. So once again, just like the prison system, do what I say, when I say do it, how I say do it. You have no voice. But again, the only crime that these kids and these parents committed is signing one-way contracts that literally they don't understand. And then you get these coaches to dance around left and right. With the new transfer rule that came out, as I said earlier, you're giving 500,000 raises to this person, you're giving millions of dollars to this school and that school, but yet you had not update your website pertaining to the transfer rules. But at the same time, there's a lot of nuances or holes in that actual scenario. So once a kid realizes he don't want to be there anymore, you say to the kid, okay, once he wants to leave, that's fine. But now you can now pull his scholarship, which means what? You pull his scholarship within 14 days, he doesn't finish his actual core courses, he don't get the grades or the GPA he needs to, so the next school he wants to go to, he now, can't make it because he's not eligible. These adults know that. So once again, when you think about the NCAA, why they make decisions and how they do it, it's not making it for your best interest. As I said, the NCAA, currently known, or hopefully soon to be formally known, is crumbling. And it will continue to crumble when you operate in situations such as this. Recap, my name is Robert T. Green. I'm the CEO of Pre-Post Game Sports Business Advisory Management Firm for athletes. We also provide transition succession planning. For more, check us out at Pre-Post Game. For me personally, as a Players Rep, check me out at the Players Rep 1 on Twitter, the Players Rep 1 on Instagram. You can also check me out on the Players Rep on Facebook. I felt it was imperative to actually provide this video today to teach you, talk about what we do know versus what you don't know. If this video educated, empowered, and protected you in any way, please like and share, because parents of all ages and from all over the world need to understand sports is not a game, it's all business. When you allow your 16 to 17-year-old to dictate to you as a parent that literally they're going to make business decisions on their behalf, you are already failing. When a university believes that it's okay to talk to a 17-year-old pertaining to loss of value or permanent disability insurance or anything else pertaining to business, sports agencies, and literally feel like that you have the right to interject yourself, that parent, when they signed up for that college scholarship, none of that was covered in that. You take it upon yourself because you feel like, what do they know? They don't know anything. This is what an institution looks like. You're not educating them on that. Your own bylaws, your bylaws changes daily. Once again, you tell the parents that hey, the NCAA, who has no one overseeing them except for the people that matter most, the parents and the athletes who don't know nothing. Once the parents and the athletes understand their rights, then these things change. But the NCAA oversees the universities, so at the end of the day, they do what they want when they want. And then they use bully tactics to scare these actual kids and families. But I tell everybody, sports is about two things: selling tickets and recruiting. So this is how we're going to work this out here. I mentioned one university earlier, and I'm going to continue to start to mention more universities. By doing things that's wrong against these kids and not actually telling them what they need to know, but what they want to hear, I personally, the Players Rep, will start diseducating for free. Again, most of my stuff education-wise is for free. We get compensated for the empowerment and the protection. However, there's a whole new recruitment class that's coming up soon. And for the University A, that's literally telling kids that they have to live off campus from day one. So now that cost of attendance stipend, which they can actually use to help their family, but now you force them to live off campus to get an apartment. They didn't know that. Why are you doing that? At university, you know who you are. You're in the Power 5. You're making hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Again, for the family that don't have anything, that want to see their kids and can't see their kids, you want to send kids to all these different camps, openings to be counselors, and then actually ask the same student athlete to recruit for you so you can get more money. So again, the majority of those kids, out of that 2%, the 98% can return back to where they started. It's a disgrace. We will continue to seek alternative methods. As you know, the JPA is out now. Next year, the XFL. Next year, the actual AAFL. Again, and we will educate and empower, protect the athlete. Our curriculum regarding character development and sports business development to put these kids in a better situation, to help them understand their own finance, to understand their own health care, understand their transition succession, to understand job placement after the fact, to understand, most importantly, that they're more than an athlete, and then when they no longer the university or the team preferred option, they are still somebody. My name is Robert T. Green. I'm the CEO of Pre-Post Game. I thank you for you guys. Have a great weekend. Look forward to talking to you again soon. God bless.